好的，我们的 panel discussion 要正式开始了。The panel discussion will start shortly. Please join me in welcoming today's moderator, Natalie, again. Welcome, and let's give a warm welcome to our distinguished guests. 好，我们再次用热烈掌声欢迎我们 panel discussion 的主持人 Natalie， 欢迎。那么继续呢，要欢迎的是我们今天一起加入讨论的贵宾们。首先欢迎的是阳明交大产业加速器中心主任黄金瑶主任，欢迎。接着要欢迎的是国训中心运动科学处处长吴伯翰处长，欢迎。好，接着要欢迎的是新北国王篮球队执行长陈信生执行长，欢迎。好，最后欢迎的是金格贝尔执行长林金伦执行长，欢迎。好的，我们国训中心的吴处长呢，稍微去洗手间，稍后也会回来加入我们今天的讨论。那接下来呢，我们要再把时间呢先交给 Natalie. And next, I would like to hand over to Natalie for hosting the panel discussion.
Okay, so we're very excited to have 4 leaders in the sports tech industry here in Taiwan. And thank you so much for coming today. And all of you who are listening right now, you can think of questions that you would like to ask our special guests. They'll be available to answer any of your questions at the end of our panel discussion. So our very first question is for Mr. Wu Bo-han. He is the director of the Sports Science Department at the National Sports Training Center, which trains our Olympic athletes. Now, in Tokyo last year, we are all very proud to see our athletes win 12 awards at the Olympics. And I believe that sports science did have a role to play in training our athletes. Mr. Wu, can you tell us how sports science is used in training our national athletes?
Thank you, Ms. Ju. Hello, everyone. My name is Phong Wu. I'm the director of the Sports Science Department of the National Sports Training Center, and also the secretary of the Provisional Office of the National Sports Science Center. First of all, I'm happy to share with you that the draft act for the establishment of the National Sports Science Center has been passed in May of this year. As we all know that our national sports team win 26 gold, 34 silver, and 30 bronze medals in 2017 Taipei World University Games, which was the best record ever for Taiwanese team, and also the national team win 2 gold, 4 silver, and 6 bronze medal in 2020 Tokyo Olympics, rewriting Taiwan's record books in the Olympic history. Besides the athletes' efforts, many people believe that sports science help athletes achieve the great results. It's indeed a true fact. Over the past few years, the sports science staff of the National Sports Science Center has increased significantly from 40 to nearly 100. However, we still face huge challenges in high-level international competitions. If we want to gain better sports performance and the outcome, we have to upgrade and improve the current sports science support model, as well as to set up a national sports science center as United Kingdom, Australia, and Japan did. At present, the sports science staff in the National Sports Training Center monitor fatigue, physiological, psychological, biomechanical, and the nutritional states of athletes, conduct analysis, and push forward preliminary solutions. However, factors affecting sports performance are very complicated and subtle, and those practical issues must be solved through further research with the assistance of intelligent technologies such as wearable device, AR, VR, AIoT, and big data analysis. Through these technologies, coaches and athletes can receive immediate feedback during training and improve the effectiveness of training. The establishment of the National Sports Science Center will plan to build a sports science building in the future to provide a better training and research environment, and provides more resources and funding to help athletes improve their performance. Meanwhile, we also plan to recruit 40 researchers and with doctorate degree, use new technologies and equipment to solve practical issues that occur in the competitions. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wu. I know this is a new department that was established just in June this year. Is there anything else you would like to tell us about the goal of the sports science department?
Okay. After the establishment of the National Sports Science Provisional Office in June, we have invited scholars and experts in the field of sports science to form a provisional working team. This team has held many meetings in discussion of the center's future goals and the organization. As mentioned above, the main purpose of the Sports Science Center is to improve the performance of athletes through research and technology. There are two main goals of the provision office. The first goal is to plan the initial organizational structure of the Sports Science Center. The original Sports Science Department of the National Sports Training Center will be used as the basis of the early establishment, and the two departments will be added, including sports science research and sports medicine research. Colleagues in the sports science department who transfer from the National Sports Training Center will continue to monitor athletes regularly. In addition, researchers from two new research departments will conduct special projects on practical problems that occur in the athletes during training to identify the factors affecting sports performance. This is like the precision sports science project of NSTC. Okay. The second goal of the Sports Science Center is to develop high-tech software and hardware for training. Because factors that influence sports performance are quite subtle. Data received from commercially available test instruments often have large errors and cannot meet the needs of the athletes. Therefore, it's necessary to develop research software and hardware suitable for athletes. Once sports science that support athletes has been upgraded and operates stably in the early stage, the Sports Science Center can begin shift its working goal to promote the development of a domestic sports technology industry and care for health of Taiwanese people. It's hope that the National Sports Science Center will become a leader in the research of such areas as sports, exercise, and health in Taiwan. And thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Wu. I know you're doing a lot for our national athletes. They make us all very, very proud. So thank you for all that you're doing in terms of sports science and training our athletes. Now, our next question is for Mr. Huang Jingyao. He is the director of the award-winning Center of Industry, Accelerator, and Patent Strategy at National Yangming Jiao Tong University. Now, they are famous in the Asia Pacific. They are the top accelerator in the Asia Pacific. They've helped nearly 1,000 tech startups. So it's a very impressive center. And they're also focusing on sports technology. Can you tell us why sports technology is one of the focus of your center's work?
Okay, we actually had the program starting 4 years back. Right now we have 85 companies select from 20 countries. Actually, there are more than 600 applications from 65 countries. I think that day one, actually, we try to go global. So the idea will actually work with a high innovation platform, which is run by Israel entrepreneur. They have a major focus on Europe, but we are the first one in Asia to do it. And so the idea here is certainly we actually have a strong collaboration. We have a very, as for now, probably that's a $30 million USD investment for among our team. And we have a more contribution to the region, to the Southeast Asia especially, because we actually take team from the region, we actually make contribution, and we actually have a so-called the forum to collaborate with them. So I think we think it's very excited because it's very vertical sector. It's not very popular in Southeast Asia or the Asia in general. And then even though it's quite popular already in the US or the Europe, I think we're probably the first one to try to take the lead and make a contribution of those. Yeah.
Well, what's also very impressive about your center is that you won the National Innovation Award. So can you tell us your insights into the key to success in innovation?
We don't want to waste the startup time because they have spent so much effort to try to be success. So I think the more fundamental things that we just give them what they really need at the multi-stage. So because we are the accelerator, so we have the turn-based. So every 3 to 6 months, there's a milestone to achieve. Even though financial, the investment is the most fundamental, but besides, the structure of the company, the market fee, those mentoring services, the corporate engagements, the funding. So we are very sincere in terms of that kind of effort and the value. So probably that's the reason we are being selected. Yeah.
Well, that's very impressive. Thank you for the work that you're doing in innovation. Now we're going to hear next from the CEO of the new Taipei Kings, a professional basketball team. I think we know who that is. That's Phil Chen. He's wearing a little basketball jersey here. Well, I'm sure sports science is very important to the training of professional athletes. Can you share what role it is playing on your team?
Yeah, I would say because basketball is a team sport, I think we have analytics both on the team side and also on the individual kind of athlete's performance. I think a lot of our focus is there's performance, there's practice training, and then there's rest, right? I think one of the things that we did last year that was different from every team is we focused a lot on rest and recovery. I think all the new data science and sports science shows that, the rest and the recovery increases the longevity of our players. And so if you look at our team this year, we actually have, I think, 2 or 3 players approaching the age of 40, right? And we want to elongate that as much as possible. I do want to share one story. There was a player named Thomas Welsh on our team last year. He was UCLA, played for the Denver Nuggets in the NBA, and he had this chronic back pain, okay? And the funny thing is, our team, which was, we had our own team trainer, we had a Pilates guy, and then we also had an acupuncturist, And what I found was that team together discovered something in his behavior that, and I'm actually very proud to say this because in his years in the NBA trainers and their staff and their medical staff didn't discover this source or cause of injury for our player Thomas Welsh. And I don't there's so much for us to learn about the human body, about performance, about training, about nutrition, about rest. But it was interesting because we're also the only team that, work with a Pilates guy. And this Pilates trainer, his name is Andrew, he was able to discover this kind of behavioral thing with this. And he discovered something that, obviously the NBA trainers and medical staff, they're the top of the world, and we were able to discover something. And so that brings me to also some of the Chinese methods that we employed. Like a lot of players are using acupuncture, they're using I don't know what's it, 拔罐. What's 拔罐 in English? Anybody know? Anyways, a lot of players are using that. And
I think it's cupping. Is it cupping?
Cupping, yes. So I think I see NBA players starting to use cupping, and it works. Now, I want to ask these experts questions like, how do we prove that? How do we, from a Western medicine, show like? But it's very like, but it works for players, right? But I can't really say I understand the science. The acupuncturists and the Baguan people can't tell me from a Western perspective what's going on. They have to tell me from a Chinese perspective. And a lot of times these Chinese perspectives and the Western perspectives are like completely contradictory. For example, like, after games or athletes, recovery, they have to go into ice baths, right? Which is often completely opposite of, Chinese, keeping the heat and the energy. And so I have to say that this is only my first year running a basketball team and engaging with sports science. I have a lot more questions than answers having done this. And so I'm a rookie here, but I'm here to learn.
So that's very exciting to hear how Taiwan's Chinese medicine has been able to help professional sports teams such as acupuncture. What did they discover? You said that there was one player that had a back injury. What was it that they discovered here in Taiwan that was able to help him that he didn't discover when he was in the NBA?
So the Pilates instructors, Pilates is not like sports training is all about strength, power, velocity, and you isolate muscles, right? The Pilates instructor is more like they're more holistic. And so, for example, he would just watch how Thomas runs, how he walks, and the imbalance that he would discover. And so he discovered that he was running a lot on his heels. And then in that running pattern, he also found that one leg was longer than the other, right? And so he had these tendencies. And so, I think that, and so that's what we discovered from his running, from his, obviously physiological structure. And we changing that behavior, of course, then reduced his back pain.
So I do think that one thing about Chinese medicine is that it is more holistic. And that's very exciting to see that how that's been able to help your athletes. Are there any other trends that you notice in Taiwan's approach to sports science? Because I know you're from California, and how that compares with the rest of the world.
No, I'm just really excited of kind of exploring more, obviously, Chinese recovery methods and, injury prevention and all these things. And I would like to see a lot more universities, especially in Taiwan, right? You're not going to see an acupuncturist or cupping specialist or, these, what do you call that? 脊椎, these kind of expertise in America, right? And so I do think that Taiwan and Asia has a very unique kind of development on this, right? I think there's an opportunity to, use more holistic methods. I do think there's a lot of AI deep learning that you can apply to these kind of things. Because I see the human body kind of like in deep learning, it's a black box, right? A lot of times we can't, in a reductionistic way, understand what's going on, but holistically we can understand the output, right, and input of things. I think Taiwan has not just Taiwan, but any kind of Asian country, but I do think Taiwan has a unique opportunity to explore something that other Western countries have no clue or no interest or no incentive or no data on, right? I think we have so many Taiwan experts. In this past, I've talked to so many experts in Chinese kind of methods, and I learned so much about the human body that I wouldn't otherwise have, being educated, like you say, in the West, and a very kind of Western mindset.
Well, I think it is interesting how, Eastern sports science like yoga has become so popular in the West, and people have seen how the holistic practice of stretching and meditation and deep breathing can help the body. And I think that Taiwan also has so much to offer in terms of its Chinese medicine, and it's great that Phil was able to share some of their team's experience. I'd also like to ask the next question to the CEO of Jingle Tech. Jingle Tech is a company that developed the world's first smart baseball, and the CEO, Ruru Xiaolin, is with us right now. That's a very exciting invention. Can you tell us about the world's first smart baseball, what it does?
Okay. Hi, I'm Ruru. I'm from Jingle Tech. I'm the CEO of the Jingle Tech. We created the first smart baseball because I'm an engineer. I'm come from the National Cheng Kung University, and is computer science. And we think about maybe in Taiwan we have the not only we only have the IoT. We not only with the device, we have so many technologies very good, and we have so many company and supply chain is very good. Like the PCB in Taiwan, mechanical in Taiwan is very good. Because I'm a software engineer, so I saw those ball is very excited. So I put those exciting things into the baseball. So I put a chip inside to the baseball, and when I start company this year, we saw the StatCast. MLB data is called the StatCast. We see so many like the speed or spin rate or another true spin or rotation axis. Those information in the panel. We are very excited about that, but we think about what can I do for that? So maybe using the high-speed camera or radar to do those things is very expensive. But in Taiwan, we have so many kind of the team. Like the school team is a very young man. They can pitch their ball, but they don't know the data. I think like that. So I created this ball. It's called a Strike Smart Baseball. It can detect now it can detect 13 about the features for the pitcher and 8 features for the catcher. And we now is using in Taiwan so many teams and using in New York and in LA. So this is our Strike Smart Baseball.
That's very exciting. I mean, I know baseball is a favorite national pastime here in Taiwan, and now you're leading the world in creating smart baseballs. Are there any other sports science technologies that are happening in the world of baseball that you'd like to share?
Okay. First of all, our Strike Smart Baseball is our first product. Our company is called Jingle Tech. We are a team is for the how to implement those high technology inside the so many sport. Because we have the module, we have the algorithm, we have so many things, and we create the brand. So if in Taiwan we have so many company or so many teams, maybe you need is for the branding, so we can help you. Maybe you need the algorithm, we can help you. So we, before the last year, we created the Smart Rugby. It's for the prototyping. And we also have some guide to find us to develop like a cricket or like a hockey. It's so many kind of the sport. In Taiwan, we have the core technology for so many kind of the sport. So it's a very different things. Because we have another competition is like in China. They have so many people. They can do so many cheap things. So we think about how can I in Taiwan can to do more and more things is to help our country. As I think about that.
Well, thank you very much. It's very exciting to hear all the things that are happening in Taiwan sports technology. Are there any questions that our panelists have for each other, or any further comments that you would like to make about sports technology here in Taiwan?
Excuse me.
Are there any questions that you would like to ask each other, or are there any further?
Maybe I can share a little bit. Because of the we're having the 85, right? So the company, we're actually at all the different sports, like golf course management system, the bicycle management, the baseball things. We also have the running marathon for the detection, the coaching. I think that's kind of become a hobby. Right now, there's a marathon actually very popular. Cycling is very popular. I think our director does cycling a lot. But then how are you going to make sure your performance achieve the level? I think that's also quite a lot technology to do so. And for the helping their recovery, I think there's a treatment for Qigong, right? Jingruo. And actually also in our company, they try to do it more scientific way. Because without the scientific, probably it's very difficult to trust, who you should look into. So I think the technology sometimes with experiment, with the performance, with the certification, probably will do a little bit more scale up possibility, and maybe collaborate with the, someone who don't really know you. So I think it's still very important to actually participate in ecosystem that can actually engage the different resources, potential business partner. So that's my highly recommend people join the ecosystem.
Phil, I thought it was very interesting that you shared that rest and recovery is something that you're focused on, because when we think of professional athletes, we think of them working very hard and trying to get stronger and improving their skills. But what did you learn about rest and recovery that maybe, I think it applies to all of us as well, right? We all work so hard here in Taiwan.
Yeah, I think, because I come from the startup world, and I would say the behavior is the same. And, Taiwan culture is often like just drive, and don't rest. And, a lot of times it's just like, take a rest, go to sleep, and next day you'll come back you'll function a lot better, right? I think Taiwan athletes I do think they're overworked, because I guess the approach that, Taiwan coaches or owners, they think of running a team like running a business, right? And so we need, I don't know, you need to be like, if in the office you're 8-10 hours, as an athlete, you should be doing what? 8 hours a day, right? But that's just humanly impossible, right? I think if you look at, when we study what the NBA is doing, it's not about like working out or training for 5-6 hours a day. It's about working very efficiently and high intensity for 1 to 2 hours a day. That's 1 to 2 hours a day. Like, that's not acceptable for Taiwanese I don't want to just say Taiwan, Asian kind of thinking, right? And so, but that kind of long-term wise hurts your performance on the court. It hurts kind of your longevity as a player, right? And so I hope to see more kind of focus on the efficiency and performance and the intensity of short periods of training time on a daily basis, rather than, it's not humanly possible. Like, even 5-6 hours a day, these athletes are going maybe, 50-60% of their capacity, right? I would much rather see 110% of 1 to 2 hours a day than 50-60%, 5-6 hours a day. I believe that is a formula. I want to confirm with these experts if that's true, but like, from my observation in my studies, it's very clear to me that the 1 to 2 hours, maybe 3 hours of high intensity is much more efficient and much better for the human body than than the other ways.
Is there anything anyone else would like to share on that note?
I tend to agree because that but we need numbers, right? We need science numbers, to see what is more effective. That's why the people like sometimes do meditation before they do they have to somehow relax a little bit. But whether there's a 4 hours, and what's the intermediate to get the rest that you mentioned, But without those numbers, that certain become like the coach have their own experience and they are the champion of the game. And so that's what they had learned from the past. But I mean, maybe the training center know better, right? Because you have to get the proper scientist number, to really do what is right or wrong. Maybe I'm not so sure exactly. The body from the West and East may not be identical. So, how you make that kind of similarity treatment in Asia, I'm not so sure it's the equivalent or not. But we need numbers, right? So someone have to spend time to study that, I guess.
Mr. Wu Bohan, could I ask you how many hours our National Olympic athletes usually train a day? 如果是我们的奥运的选手，他们平常一天可能要训练几个小时？
This is depend different stage. If very close competitions, maybe they may be training 6 hours per day. So the training load is very high. Yeah. So they when they finish their training, they should take more resting. Yeah, and then more nutrition. Diet, yeah.
Thank you. Well, I think it's very interesting how sports science is helping sports to be more efficient, right? And I'm sure that a lot of the technologies, such as the smart baseball and all that's happening in Taiwan, is helping our athletes to become their very best. Now, are there any questions that people in our audience would like to ask our experts? If there are any questions, please feel free to raise your hand. And we have a question over there. Can we give the sir a microphone, please?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I would like to ask Phil. And as a basketball fan, it's very exciting to hear Plus League have a cooperations with Synergy Sports this year. And I would like to ask you, what do you think about Taiwanese pro basketball can do with AI methods more? And also, how do you think in local company can provide for Plus Leagues or New Taipei Kings? Thank you.
I'm not as familiar of what the Plus League were doing with Synergy. I would just answer kind of generally. I do think if you look at baseball and football and basketball for the past 10 years, and I'm talking about Americans, Major League Baseball, NFL, the baseball game hasn't changed. Football really hasn't changed, but basketball has changed. It's been vastly different. The game today is almost completely different from when I watched as a kid. And it's really fun and exciting for me because I'm also from the tech space. And also, if you look at the ownership of the NBA, right? The ownership of baseball and football, it's a lot of old school money. But in the NBA, there's a lot of tech founders, a lot of hedge fund guys. And these guys are driving, a lot of innovation, a lot of data science, a lot of, some people call it Moneyball, kind of anything from the business side to the performance to the analytics of the game, right? Because it is a team sport. It's very different from, there's no analytics for, individual sports as much, right? The complexity of a sport, of a kind of a team game is fascinating. And so I'm really excited to see kind of using data analytics to drive the game itself, right? The NBA and the game of basketball, it's really exciting for me because The game has changed so much. We're learning so many things. And of course, because the winning formula has changed, the way you pick players, the way you kind of find the right kind of cocktail of kind of players is very different. And the Taiwan game is again very different, right? Because we're Taiwan, unfortunately, we're not the best basketball players, right? We're not the best athletes, and so we have import players, and so it's this dynamic between kind of import players and local players, and it's a different, and also because of that, it's a very different game from the international game. And so, yeah, I would like to, learn and work with a lot of startups. You're probably from the startup space, to see what sort of data analytics, AI, machine learning we can do on the game itself, aside from the individual athletic performance. I think there's so many things to do. I think Plusly, we're at a year, we've been doing well first, second year. I don't know if our game and our league is ready for that yet, because we still need to build a much bigger fan base. We need to get to another scale, for example, before we engage with like a 4D replay. And that type of media engagement, like the business of Plus League, I don't think is there yet. But we do want to start building new ways of fan engagement. But yes, I do think there's a lot of things on the AI side we can start employing. I don't know if that answered your question. It's kind of a vague answer, but yes, I would love to discuss with different startups and learn from kind of all different ideas on how to analyze the game itself.
Thank you, Phil. Are there any other questions for our panelists today? 欢迎大家想要问问题可以问我们的特别来宾。Oh, here we go. 可以递麦克风给他吗？
那您绕进来。
Hello, I'm a baseball fan of MLB and CPBL, and I have two questions for Ruru. And the first one is, and I'm wondering the accuracy of the smart baseball compared to the state of the statecast between what's the accuracy between these two kind of states. And second question is that, and we all know that the broadcasting experience in like CPBL and between MLB is they have a gap. And how have you have any plan to help our and Taiwan's TV, baseball TV live stream, and how can you emerge your technology to help to improve the visualized experience? Okay, thank you.
I saw you are the fans, because it's fans we ask like those questions. So first thing is you call the accuracy. Our partner in the Japan and in the United States and in Taiwan, we now is selling in the Decathlon. They to buy our products, they first thing they will check our accuracy. They will maintain the lab and give us the report. So they already check with the the TrackMan or the Repsodo with our Strike Smart Baseball. Accuracy is they can prove. So we sell in their channel. This first thing. But another question about our in Taiwan, because Taiwan we did not find some lab to help our technology company to give our report for the accuracy for our like a sport tech product. So this is a good question for you. So in our before the 4 years we use our sales channel to help us. But now we maybe in Taiwan we can help another company like a startup. We try to that. So if you are a startup, you're interested about it, you can to find me. Okay. Then the second thing is a big question. Just like the basketball, just like so many sport, because this in this time, in this stage, this year is very excited about the sports science, because before the 4 years, 5 years, the sport is traditional. They can control all of things, but technology is more and more inside the basketball, inside the sport. So we have the like an IoT device, high-speed camera, and we have the big reason about that is we have so many people come here to see those data. Oh, this data is good, and we can train it like that. They want to try, and we will be better. This is our goal. But I think in like the basketball team, they are very needed to handle so many things. So they're very confused about like how can this startup can help us for this, or we can put this device in our team. Is very not in their control. But I needed to say about a TV show for vision. This thing is another category. It's not for our device. It's another, because we sell the product to help people to use, but we want to try the device for in the basketball game to use. But here have so many difficult things, because we have the team needed to buy our device. And those devices create the data. We need a TV to show. We needed to sell them the right for them. So in MLB, how to solve that is MLB to call all of the teams, and everyone gives some money. Everyone to do together. It's MLB do. But now in Taiwan CBPO, they don't do that. So I think maybe we need more and more time to prove it. So if you want to do, maybe you can to help some team, maybe Lion team or another team, to say, hey, you call the CBPO and to come here for our fans. We can see so many things. Is our fans' dreams. It's very good. Okay, thank you.
Those are great questions. Are there any other questions that people in the audience would like to ask our experts? Yes, there's one question over here.
I would like to ask Mr. Huang about some question. I'm a co-founder from Spot, a startup from Taiwan, and we start on 2020. We provide a video solution and streaming solution to local basketball league like Plus League, T1, and also the baseball league, CPBL. And as we are going, we start to realize that Taiwan market is super small. That I already target all of the professional leagues. So from your perspective, how do you think your organization will help startup to go global? Or what's any advice you can provide to us? Thank you.
Okay, I think that's a good question. I think in the early batch, we have a similar streaming solutions. They also have the challenges to develop their business here in Taiwan. Not only on the sports, though, they actually do a lot of different things because streaming can do a lot, right? So we actually bring them to Japan because at the time may be more interested to do something new. So the different market have a different need. So you never know what will happen, but may not be focused only on the sport because sport is not necessarily the most profitable. It's called the media in Taiwan now, right? So maybe you can do concert, we can do something else. So probably still need to identify the right business segment to the adoption of your technology. And certainly with the mature of your technology, you can actually go abroad, maybe like Southeast Asia, and maybe they want to do something, which maybe there's a chance. But when you're doing this, you don't just go. You want to find a local partner who can help you. I think like 40Play, they have tried to find a local partner to facilitate the business possibility. So join the ecosystem, we can certainly help to act and check. I think someone quite close to you is from Thailand, Sasani. She has quite influential. If she want to help you, they have very high chance you can get into the contact and then have the business discussion. And then we talk about the solution, how sophisticated, what's the pricing, how to compete with a local competitor, and that's a business, right? So I mean, but you have to go into the, besides by yourself, you can also enter an ecosystem to help you. Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for our panelists today? Okay, well, are there any other comments or anything else you'd like to share before we end the panel discussion? Anything that our panelists would like to share about trends in sports technology? All right, well, thank you very much. I'd like first of all to thank our panelists. First of all, we have CEO of the New Taipei Kings, Phil Chen, the professional basketball team. Thank you so much for coming today. And I would also like to thank Mr. Ruru C. Lin, the CEO of Jingle Tech, who is the founder and the creator of the world's first smart baseball. And I'd like to thank the director of our sports science department at our National Sports Training Center, Mr. Wu Bohan, and also Mr. Huang Jingyao, the director of the award-winning Center of Industry Accelerator and Patent Strategy at National Yangming Jiaotong University. Let's give a warm round of applause for all our panelists. And are we going to take a picture again? Okay. And please take our masks off. Closer. This way. Thank you very much for sharing all your expertise, and thank all of you for coming. And we have a QR code where you can fill out a survey and tell us what you thought of our event today. And we will be giving out some very nice prizes in a prize drawing. But thank you all for attending our Sports Technology Forum. We hope that you really enjoy the expo today, and have a great day.